The red light is blinking, and that means we're recording the latest episodes of A Three Men and a Babyface. I am Kaiser Soze, and as always, I am joined with my dudes. They're savage and ruthless, and they got 30s and 100 rounds too. Sonic is to my left over here. What's up, Sonic? How you living? All right, and below me is his cousin Smooth B25. What up, Smooth?
What's going on?
And of course, my frat brother Neo Gotenks in Miami. What's good?
Easy
Neo.
gamers unite. Easy gamers.
Let's go. That is not today's topic. Man, you just want to get it in. If everybody at home, Neo supports casual gaming. He likes to play games on casual, easy mode. He likes to be able to play while holding both of his kids in his hands. He'll pass the controller to him. No one's going to die. It's on casual mode. But anyway, guys, we're running off on a tangent. Today's episode is about Horizon Dawn, the hype that is, and the fact that Horizon Dawn was pitched beforehand as being sort of like the console seller, the next big IP for Sony. And honestly, we talked about this a few weeks ago. And when we talked about this a few weeks ago, it was actually about the hype train. All right, but the hype train is pretty much over because the game is coming out next week and the embargo has been lifted, so the reviews are out. So there's really no hype train to talk about. We know how good the game is. There's reviewed damn well. So what I want to ask you guys is this it? Is this like the next killer app for Sony? All things considered, I'm going to pass it to my man Neo, who was ready to talk about Horizon Dawn 2 weeks ago, and he was not impressed. Neo, where you at now?
So I'm still not impressed. I think that the game is beautiful. Hold on, let me just say this: the game is definitely beautiful. It is going to be the showpiece for the PS4 Pro right now. But in terms of gameplay that I've seen, I think there might be one video that looked exciting, but aside from that, it's mundane. I feel like all the reviews right now have a little bit of Sony padding going on right now. You know?
And that's what I was saying at first too, because you guys know that I was actually kind of hyped for the game, and I'll tell you why later. But I'm actually with Neo on this. The thing is, this game. Let's say this game is a 9.2. To me, skeptically, as a Nintendo, Ubisoft, Xbox guy, I guess now that's what you guys in the comment section are going to be saying. So I guess if I'm that guy, then I look at this game and I say, is it an 8.2? And then you have the +1 obligatory PS exclusive point. You know, like if it's a PS exclusive game, then you get an obligatory extra point. Because the fanboys are so loud. You know what I mean? It's not just Sony fanboys have a loud voice, man. They make a lot of noise on the internet. So that's what I'm afraid of. Is I wanted this game. I see the 9.3, but does that mean 8.3 plus the Sony? Yeah, is that what you're worried about, Neo?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like graphics and how the game looks is playing a bigger part in those scores than the actual game.
But isn't that what part of what makes up a review? It's how it looks, how it plays, how it sounds.
Yeah, but you gotta put it this way: if you take Uncharted and you take the graphics away from Uncharted, is Uncharted still an amazingly fun game to play?
Yes.
It still is, yeah.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Now, if you take this game and you take the graphics away, in my opinion, you have kind of a hodgepodge mix of tons of games. Like.
Okay. But that's not a bad thing though, because it's a mix of a lot of good games.
But hold on. But here's the thing: if this is supposed to be a system seller, if this is supposed to be the face, the new IP, then what kind of game is it? Uncharted definitely has its own tone. It is the Michael Bay of video games, right? Last of Us has its own tone, completely different from Uncharted, right? But what is this?
No, I liked it the first time when it was called Heavenly Swords. To be honest with you, I thought it was pretty cool. But Smooth, tell me, man, what are you talking about here? Like, so what did you think of all the reviews and everything? And considering where you were 2 weeks ago to now, when we talked about hype.
So going back to last year, I mean, this was one of my hype games coming out of 2017. When the early previews first started to come out, I was like, it's not looking that good. It's looking like a scale-bound type, boring, fighting type game with the big robot.
You compared it to a game that wasn't out either.
Scale-bound.
You compared it to a trailer game.
But then, as the embargo was lifted, we start to see more gameplay, and this thing looks amazing. I mean, as we're finding out more, combat looks pretty sick. The weapon types look pretty cool. You have this skill tree, which you have the stealth. You can level up to stealth or combat or as like a gatherer. And me, I mean, I love stealth games, so I'm going to level up as a stealth guy and be able to take down the robots and enemies like that. This game was looking really, really, really good.
You know what I liked about it? Some of the stuff you touched on is when I first saw this game, the reason I was hyped about it a couple months ago was I saw a developer video, and I told you that when I saw her slam her staff on top of one of those organic moving trees, whether it's an animal tree or whatever, it seemed like it sent out these pulses, and then the map was unlocked. And it reminded me of that Ubisoft trope that you see in Watch Dogs when you unlock a watchtower, or whether it's Ubisoft when you sync with the tower. It's just like an Ubisoft trope.
Yeah.
It's an open world trope, really. It's an open world trope where
So
the entire map is available.
Yeah, what that is the that's like the big dinosaur one. That one has a communication tower, so as you unlock it, you can see more of the map. So yeah,
exactly. So it's like it's an open world trope, and that's actually what I'm wondering. And me and you like Watch Dogs as much as I do. Yep. And I think my man Sonic like Far Cry. I'm seeing a lot of the Far Cry stuff in this too. So that's what I like this game is I do like the open world stuff. I wonder if that's Neo. Is that your problem with the game? The fact that you don't really like open world games, am I right?
Listen, it has no. I like some open world games. But let me give you example. I'm really concerned with the identity of this game. Like, for example, like for it to be the system seller, Sony is like pushing this game down our throat. Do you ever remember them pushing Uncharted down our throat like this? Last of Us down.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
there were trailers.
I remember Uncharted commercials left and right. In fact, last year, I believe Uncharted launched during the NBA playoffs, and I remember seeing Uncharted commercials in nauseum. But okay, see, that's an already established franchise. Like I don't want to compare Uncharted to Horizon. It's had several generations to grow. It's
all right, so let's address that real quick
because PS4.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? Because Microsoft is involved in this whole thing too. And so if we're talking about these Sony games that Neo is bringing up, okay? At this point, Sony exclusives for a while there, until we got Drake's Uncharted 4, they were all suspect, right? They were all met with some sort of criticism for the most part. We can't say that anyone was a slam dunk home run. And a lot of people were saying that the best stuff that you can get at Sony was actually stuff that was available at the PS3. Then we got Uncharted. And what we saw with Uncharted is that while Xbox is making Gears of War 4 with a new studio, and we get Halo 5 with a new studio, so it's not Bungie and whoever made Gears of War. It was like new studios making both of these, right?
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is they can't really stray too much from the game because they have to pay homage to the original guys, right? You can't just be the first time in creating one of these games and change the game dramatically. Sony doesn't have to worry about that. Where I'm going with all this is that Sony is working on Uncharted 4 and they're working on Last of Us 2. The same studios are working on it. So they got these powerhouses coming down the line. That's what I'm looking at, right? Then we have Horizon Dawn that comes out of nowhere, a brand new IP. Well, we're all criticizing that they're doing stuff like Bloodborne. Is it really as good as they say? Or the 38 Order, 1838 game that people say is just a bunch of quick time events or whatever. We get Horizon Dawn. And does it live up to the hype? Or is it that just Sony needs this game because none of their new IPs are a slam dunk? We're all relying on Last of Us 2.
I agree with that.
Hard to dance around it. That's where I'm going with all this. Sonic.
You know why this game's going to sell a ton of copies? Because it looks beautiful and it's got a ton of content. And that's what sells a game these days. Especially on a Sony exclusive game like Horizon. And we were talking earlier about that big dinosaur that you can climb upon and you reveal most like side missions on the map. That's a Far Cry. Actually, that's a Ubisoft trope. And every Ubisoft game moving forward, or every Ubisoft game in the has utilized that trope where it's like you climb on a tower and you reveal most of the map.
You know how silly it is?
I, for one, am getting tired of that.
Yo, you know what's funny is like it got to the point, Sonic, where if you play The Crew, which is a racing game.
Oh, yeah.
It's a racing game around the United States of America. For you to unlock the map, you actually have to pull up in your car to a radio tower and get out. Like, it's the only part of the game that is not racing. And it's like, exactly. it so removes you from the rest of the game.
Listen, I have played so many open world games over the past year and a half. Actually, I take that back. Since I could go back to the 360 era, there were so many open world games that I played. And I'm getting fatigued at this point. I'm appreciating some of the smaller yet dense worlds. Like I'm playing through Dishonored 2, and those are very small, contained open worlds, but they're very, very dense. There's a lot of interiors, there's a lot of secrets, hidden passageways. This game seems like it's going to give you a lot of stuff to do. In fact, the IGN review said that it can last between 30 to 40 hours. So most people who can only buy 2 to 3 games a year, they're gonna go ding ding ding. That's a game I need to buy because they're gonna invest a lot of time into it. They're gonna get their money's worth. So yeah, for that reason, people are gonna buy it, and just because of sales, it'll definitely get a sequel. But I think over time, what you'll see is as the game ages, people will find this to be just another open world game. Now,
I'm not even gonna argue that. I think you're right. But having said all that, there's certain people like myself, the completionist, that is exciting to me. An open world game where I'm going to go in there and I'm going to spend a lot of time, even after I beat the game, there's going to be stuff for me to do around that world, whether it's, I don't know, crafting and the skill tree that Smooth is talking about. Like, I'm going to try to get I'm going to try to fill every skill tree. I'm going to try to beat every side mission. I'm going to try to kill and skin every animal. What do you think about that, Smooth?
Especially since I'm going to be looking at your trophies and matching up, trying to make sure I get all the same points too.
But listen. I mean, I get that. But we're talking about whether a game is going to sell, whether a game's going to be successful. Those completionists,
the killer app.
It's going to sell.
Those completionists are a small portion of the bigger whole. I think that this is going to sell, let's say, Final Fantasy numbers. I don't think that this is going to sell, does anyone know offhand how many Uncharted sells?
Final Fantasy numbers?
You know what? Let's make it a little simpler real quick. If Smooth, you want to look that up, go ahead. Real quick, while he does that, let's go around and tell us. The main question here is this the killer app? Will this move hardware? Is this going to push units? I'll start with you, Neo. Is this going to push units? Is this the killer app? If you don't have a PS4, is this an exciting reason to get it, or are you still waiting for a Last of Us 2? Or
no, I mean this will push units, but not the PS4 units. This will push Pro units because, as I understand it, this is the first like native 4K game that
there's checkerboarding involved, but yeah.
So I think that this.
How about you, Sonic? What do you think? Is this gonna push Is this gonna be a system pusher?
This is gonna be a pro system pusher, but I would just like to add that this game, I don't think this will be the face of this generation for Sony, because like I said, I think over time as this game ages, you're gonna see people either forgetting about it because it's just another open world game.
You know what we're totally overlooking though, guys?
I agree with that 1,000%. It's gonna
be to be a flagship title though, like you're saying, and you just said it when you said face. It came to me the character has to be likable, and none of us know anything about this chick. It could turn out that she's a super heroic lady that becomes the face of the female movement or this type of stuff, and then she's gonna be someone that we all kind of want to root for, and then she might become the next Nathan Drake and another flagship. That where you buy a PS4. On the box, there's a face of her. In the corner, they put a face of all there's Crash Bandicoot in there, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
We'll see her in there, too.
It's actually funny you mention that because the developers already came out and said that for future Horizon titles, because there's so much lore, that the next game may not feature this chick as a main character. They may go.
Oh, it's like an anthology series.
But right. Once again,
I actually like that.
But I don't. How do you build like?
Because then you're world building.
I don't want to
like world building.
Exactly. You're not character building, and that's not something that you can carry over from game to game.
Well, they did it in Watch Dogs. Like maybe they can have her.
And what happened? And hold on, what happened? Can we get like a hyperlink? Can we get a hyperlink to our old podcast about Watch Dogs and the problem what happened when they switch characters?
Yeah, that is true, man.
Can I tell you something? I think we talked about it more than anyone else.
Yeah, I think so too.
It was not that big of a news story, but hey, somebody.
One thing I will say about the character, she is pretty much like Rey from Star Wars. It's like she doesn't know who her parents are. She knows how to fight. She knows how to build things. Listen, she can fly a Millennium Falcon.
I agree. You know what's funny too is that a lot of the reviews they say that the one thing that this game suffers from is tropes. They do the same thing. Everything is very predictable, and that worries me. That worries me because at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, what is this? If this is gonna be the new face of Sony, like, what is it? Right now, when I see the game, I'm gonna tell you what I see. I see crafting from Resident Evil. I see dynamic dialogue and facial expressions from Fallout. I see survival stealth from Tomb Raider. I see a little bit of Zelda.
These are all good games, though.
No,
so
yes, but you know what? But you know what? It doesn't
think that's a weakness.
I get what you're saying, Neo. What Neo's saying is it doesn't carve its own identity that way.
See, this guy knows what I'm talking
borrowing.
about.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta play because the funny thing is that I don't think we're saying. I think we're on the same page because I think you're guessing again. We haven't played it yet, but you're guessing this game is around an 8, right? A high 8, low 8. That's probably what you're expecting. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying as well. I'm saying that it's a high 9, and I'm hoping that it isn't the Sony obligatory extra point. But I agree with you. It's like an 8. You know?
I feel like what you gotta do
right now on Metacritic. So I mean
it's an 83.
It's 88.
An 88. What I would suggest everybody do is when they watch the reviews, right? Always watch the closing minute of that review, right? Because what I've already seen on 2 reviews was the campaign is 40 hours, which is great, but then you get a lot of fetch missions, which get repetitive. And how many games get crucified for that? But this one is just going to get a pass.
That's true.
Now I got what you're saying. I'm with you on that.
That's true.
I mean, we're talking about the Ubi hate. There's Ubi hate, but there's Sony love. There's Sony love.
Yeah. So that's why there is a bias that exists in the industry for Sony titles, and that if I were to review Dead Rising 4, right? Dead Rising 4 looked terrible. The graphics were awful, and the performance was okay. 30 frames, but it had uneven frame pacing. The point I'm trying to make is, if that game had come out on a Sony platform in native 4K or 4K checkerboard, had a better graphics engine, believe me, that game would have been getting 8s and 9s. But because it's on an Xbox platform, it came out like the beginning of December, and it just looked terrible. I think we just kind of pushed it on the wayside, right? So that's why there is this love affair with Sony exclusives. Like also The Last Guardian, people were in love with as well. And I've been hearing that it's a frustrating experience. So, I mean, there is
Sony won like 3 E3s because of Dogbird in the past 7 years.
Right. You know what I mean? And you know what?
And
they're
then
we got that every one for the next 5 years because of The Last of Us, for however long.
But you know what? You know what? The fact is, Sony PlayStation is the top dog right now. They are at the top of the mountain, and this is what happens when you're up there. Their fans are puffing their chest out. They're pounding their chest. They get to do that right now. Us, me and Smooth were pounding our chests 5 years ago. So, I mean, I get it, man. We just got to take it in strides, man. Good for Sony. Hey, the industry's doing well, man. We're all doing well. The Switch is coming. Everybody's feeling right. But listen, let's go ahead and wrap the show up. I think we're all sort of on the same page. I think we're all saying this is definitely going to push units. It looks like it's going to push the PS4 Pro units is what my boys are saying. But we all expect this is a good game. It's not going to be the game changer. It's just, it gets the obligatory extra point because it's a Sony title. Sorry, Sony fanboys. Don't hate us. But if you do, write it in the comments. If you like the video, like the video. If you like what you saw, subscribe to 3 Men and a Baby Face. We're going to get the hell out of here. I'm Kaiser Soze, Sonic Nerd, Smooth B, Neo. Throw deuces up. We're out. Peace.
Cool.